Alright, well, I'm about to lose my mayorship in Ashes of Creation, and I intended to lose my mayorship. Anyways, that was the plan. From what I've been told, I haven't clicked this because I do not want to register, and I don't know if there's a extra step or not, but we had a plan to succeed me as mayor because running a giant guild and also being mayor is not easy at all. And I probably slipped up on a lot of things as mayor because I just literally didn't have the time at times. However, it's actually not that bad. It's just at first it's very confusing. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the election process, which is really not good currently. Like, I know they've adjusted it slightly because now there is quite a bit of time for people to register before the vote happens. But at the launch of the game, and we kind of knew this was the way it is, that's why we raced to 10 to try to get mayor. But really, it's a race to 10. Once enough people become citizen, nobody even knows how many that is, I don't think. It might be 10, it might be 20, nobody knows. Then the mayor process started up, and it was like 2 hours to register, and then there was 4 people registered to be mayor in Winstead on Vyra. There was 4 people registered. 2 of them were Genesis, and then one was, I think actually the other was Neorine, who ended up being the mayor of Nuela, but, and then the 4th I don't remember, but, is interesting because it's just it shouldn't just be a whoever gets to 10 fastest, and then 4 hours later we're going to have an election. That is a very not good process. However, I did notice that it's like a 12-hour cooldown now on the current election that's going on. So actually like 24, I think it is. So the nominations, I think it's like 24 hours after nominations open that the actual election starts. Now, I want to see how long it actually is this time, because I want to say it was only like 4 hours, the whole election last time. I stayed up that first night till like 5 a.m. to get my vote in, and a lot of the rest of the guild did too. And then we all went to sleep, and then I woke up and I was mayor. But not a good process. That is not how it should work. And I get it's alpha. People are going to be like, what are you complaining about balance in an alpha? That's always what people say. I get it. So that's the election. Kind of borked at the moment. What I do want to talk about is the main things with being a mayor are trying to get your building set up. And, here on good old Vyra server, we have, I think every node has like 4 buildings for the most part. I think we do have 4 buildings in Winstead. I think a few still have 3. But, we're probably one of the most developed servers. Lineth might be the only one that maybe is more developed, possibly in the U.S. I don't know. I don't know what Europe looks like, but these lighter colored looking icons on the map are kind of like the light blue color. Those are artisan buildings. Those cost 100 gold and a lot of materials to build. Those actually have crafting benches in them. They have the apprentice crafting benches. They will have 3 apprentice crafting benches, 1 gathering, 1 processing, and 1 crafting. And the support buildings provide passive buffs to the node. They provide they provide expansion slots to build a journeyman building, 1 journeyman building in one of these artisan buildings, right? So these are the darker blue colored, and maybe some people are going to complain about what color I called these. I'm sure. Like, I know how YouTube comments work. I'm preempting all the comments, so I'll get into that. But as you can see, like, I think most nodes. And I think sometimes this bugs out, but see, this is what it would look like if it was an empty plot. However, this is not an empty plot. It's just like it's bugged out, right? Oh, no, it is. The smithy's here. Okay, so this is an empty plot. So that's what empty plot looks like. When you press N, you'll see if there was empty plots and you're the mayor, you'll have a button here where you can click plus and you can build the building. So what we have built is, for artisan buildings, we built the textile mill and the wood shop. Those cost 100 gold, and they cost ridiculous amounts of material to build. It's mostly these materials, but a lot more. Like every single building takes standard tools. Standard tools used to take 5 copper or 5 zinc and 5 basalt or 5 granite. That was nerfed down to one copper, 1 zinc, and 1 basalt or granite, which the copper and zinc, as you guys mostly know, is impossible to get. So that change did allow us to build buildings much faster, and in addition to that, build journeyman buildings. Now, the journeyman buildings require you to build something like a farm, which gives you a vocational expansion slot. And again, it gives you node resource generation, and it gives you some buffs within the zone of influence of the node. With the vocational expansion building, with the vocational expansion point, we were able in the woodshop in Winstead on Vyra server to build a journeyman lumberjacking supply. And I think this might be one of the first journeyman stations. I think it is the first. Somebody on Vyra can correct me. I think we are the first ones to get a journeyman crafting station up. But correct me if I'm wrong on that. This thing costs 300 gold to build and absurd amounts of materials. Where do you get these node commodities, you might be asking? I have not talked about that yet. If you go to the treasury, you can create these buy orders as a work order. As a mayor, you can create these buy orders. Here's your standard tools order. I just put this in last night to help finish out the journeyman jacking station. And then I have an existing standard tools work order. So typically how I'm doing this and how most people are doing this, I'm not going to actually put a bricks order in because we have absurd amounts of bricks, but I typically jack everything to max here. Why do I do this? Because the purchase price, while it does increase the gold price, and this gold price was taking down quite a bit on buy orders at 1.2, they did adjust a lot of the node stuff because it was impossible to build anything. It was impossible to ever get to journeyman level on anything. Now it is possible, however, there still are some limitations and some issues with being able to build, to a very high level of journeyman at multiple nodes. Duration, really no reason to keep that at 3, and the price goes up. So no reason really to have this at 3 days. I just keep it at 8 days. It's just the real key is to make sure everybody is aware that, hey, you've got to ping your guild and your citizens that, hey, I need you guys to focus on these orders because there's always a bunch of orders out there because I set these to 8 days. This would be like if you set the quantity, if you set this to 50, this order would end once 50 of them are filled. There's zero reason why you'd ever want to do that. Every mayor cranks that to max. The contribution limit is the individual contribution limit. There's really no reason to not crank that to max. Okay? So you would hit schedule order, and then this would come in here. And of course, I have a lot of orders. These building resources and sturdy furniture, these are tier 2 orders. Tier 2 orders require tier 2 materials. I needed to build those to create the journeyman station recently, lumberjacking station. So you can see, all these things. So the green here, the uncommon, these are tier 2 within the industrial goods segment of the commodities. And then you even have tier 3. I have not had to make a tier 3 yet. I don't even know what those would be used for, honestly. I've not seen a building that actually uses the tier 3. And then the war materials, we've had to make some of these as well. So that's the main thing with buildings. You have to build, and here's the other thing. You can apparently only build one journeyman level station at each artisan building. So each artisan building has 2 to 3 different building upgrade trees. Apparently you cannot come here now and build this. This is what I've been told. We haven't got to this point yet, at least on this server. And I don't know if this is from pre-alpha testing where people found this out, but apparently you cannot turn around now once lumberjacking supply is done and build a lumber mill. In order to have a node with all 3 of these unlocked, you would have to build 3 wood shops. You would have to build a farm to get to your vocational slot. You have to build a factory, which gives you your fabrication slot. And then you have to build the support building that gives you a civic slot, which is which one. Well, I cannot select them because there is no build thing. But there is only one building that gives each of these different slots support buildings. So you cannot, because you only have 4 build slots, that would mean you would need to build 3 wood shops and 3 support buildings. This means you cannot max everything in the wood shop. So the lumberjacking, the lumber milling, and the carpentry are the things in the wood shop. You cannot max that out. You look at textile mill. You could potentially do textile mill because there's only 2 buildings. You have a weaving shop and you have a tailoring. So you could build 2 weaving shops. You could build the 2 support buildings. Again, the factory gives you fabrication. And cultural, I don't remember which building gives that, but you build that building, you could actually max out textile mill currently in 1 building. Hi, Des. I see you. I see Des. Hi, Des. Hey, buddy. You're going to be on my video. So that is the buildings. I don't know if I explained it very well. There are some charts out there. I don't know if I'm allowed to show these charts. Some of the other mayors showed me, like a big, giant flow chart of how all this works. It's somewhat complicated, but it's yeah, these things are just it was extremely expensive to build all these things. It took ridiculous amounts of buy orders, and on top of that, it takes a ridiculous amount of gold, and then on top of that, you have maintenance costs, 12 gold a week, plus a lot of commodities as well, node commodities that you have to fill in. So it's a big process to do all this. The next thing would be this commissions tab. Now, this isn't too big of a deal. The thing with this is these used to cost 5 gold, so I wasn't even putting them up because gold was such a premium. And this, again, this is another reason why a lot of nodes had to crank their taxes up. I have been fortunate enough that Winstead is a very popular node to the point that I was able to get quite a bit of treasury built up to where I could build all my buildings. It wasn't too big a deal, but I did have to crank this up to 35% for a while. I've been at 10% for most of the time I've been a mayor, so that's not too big a deal. However, these, when they were 5 gold, I was not putting them up. Now that they're just 1 gold, I am putting them up. This also used to say you had to complete this 100 times. This is everybody in the node has to complete this 100 times. If they do, you get a nice little buff. It's not the best thing ever, but 10% crafting XP, that matters, obviously. I mean, 2% mentality, I don't think that's too big of a deal. Crafting quality increase 2%, I mean, that could be important, I guess. So you get 2 crafting qualities 2% if you complete these. So this is coming at it from the citizen perspective. Please, citizens, come to the mayoral commission board and grab all of these because it costs node gold to build all these. And if we get 50 of them done, as you can see, most of the time we don't get it done. We got a day. We have a day left to get this one done. And it's not looking pretty that we're going to get there in time. And it's literally just grab them. You don't even have to specifically go out and do these things. You naturally will get them done, and then you press J, and look, I've got a couple done actually. And you get okay rewards. It's nothing incredible, but you do get the node tickets, right? You get the node tickets, and the node tickets are nice because you can then go to this guy down here. He's about midway down the ramp on all these nodes, down into the main artisan area. The citizen reputation vendor. You can come to this guy, and I think you can also go to the academic node vendor at the town hall, and I think he's got most of this. But the main thing here is the cloak. Now the cloaks are specific to your node. Like Winstead has basically a tank cloak. So as the mayor, I've been stuck with the Winstead cloak. A lot of people are going to other nodes to get specific cloaks that are specific to their archetype, and then coming back to Winstead if they're a member of Genesis, for instance. There's also level 10 bronze gear, which just is not that great, and it's very, very expensive. So, and as you can see, I have a bunch of tickets because I've been filling buy orders, and I've had my crafters give me stuff to go fill the buy orders and such. In addition, this doesn't necessarily affect the mayor or anything, but there are 4 different boards in a node. You have this board, the commission board. This is just your regular commission adventure board for every node. Every node has that. It's right near the caravanserai in every single node. Then you also have, this is the 3rd board, you also have at the hunting lodge you have a board. This is like a hunting board, right? With like where you hunt like certain named mobs. If you're looking for certain names to kill, because a lot of these names do drop specific items, like unique type of items, not a bad place to go. I don't think the rewards are that great. Yeah, actually the rewards are they're okay. They're okay. None of the commissions or quests XP rewards are great at all, but it does look like those at some point got buffed. So, you know, it's worth having those. The problem is with 30 journal slots, if you go and grab everything in a node, you're filling up really quick. Here's another board. I don't think hardly anybody knows about this board, but opposite the mailbox, opposite the requisition and storage clerk, you have this guy, the commission board artisan. And you can turn these in and you'll get actually better glint and stuff. You'll get better income than you would just vendoring the items. So some people end up just vendoring basalt, for instance, because you have so much basalt from trying to level your mining and you're not getting hardly any copper, but you're getting a ton of basalt. You can turn this in, get some okay glint. That will be better like silver return than you would get from just vendoring it. Now here at the requisition agent, which is again at the warehouse of every node, this is where the citizens fill their buy orders, right? And this is, I'm constantly having to ping people to go fill these, and that's how we got the buildings up, you know, at a fairly quick rate. I'm not going to anger the mayors of Vyra and say we did it better than everybody else, because at some points we were ahead, some points we were behind. I think we might be the first with a journeyman bench, but I have no idea. I could be wrong on that. Then once you get these buildings up, you, like I said, you get the main foreman. This guy does your certifications, and in order to, you have to get the lumberjacking certification, for instance, when you hit 10, and then you can build the tool. There's a bench. Here's your bench to build the upgraded lumberjacking, the apprentice lumberjacking tool, and then you can mine. I don't think you have to build a tool to mine 10 plus stuff. I think you just have to get the certification, but somebody could correct me if I'm wrong on that. And then you have vendors for carpentry. You have vendors for lumber milling as well. And you can buy uncommon level stuff here. If for some reason you've got terrible luck on drops, you could buy these weapons, but you can craft much better stuff than this, or you can get much better drops than this. However, it is there. If you want some slightly upgraded chassis, you can buy those. However, you can craft, you know, much better chassis and stuff too as well. And yeah, that's kind of the thing. You have a lumberjacking vendor again, where you can buy various items. And then, yes, the upgraded lumber milling station, where you can now have 2 queue slots in the upgraded apprentice station for lumber milling at this node specifically. So again, every building has like 3 slots. Now the other thing about the buildings is like the textile, yeah, it's basically the buildings are the same as, sorry, I'm fucking tripping over my words here, but so these POIs all throughout the world, like the wood shop, for instance, POI has the exact same buildings in it. It has lumberjacking, lumber milling, and carpentry. Until your node gets built up, you kind of just have to go back to these spots to do your certain things that you need to do. However, the novice benches are all in the node. As you guys know, they're all in this area up here of every node. But the vendors will actually have more things for sale, because there is not a woodshop vendor, for instance, in the town until you build the woodshop, right? But once you build the woodshop in a node, then you get the upgraded 10 to 20 vendor, the apprentice vendors. Does that make sense? And then you have the cookhouse as well. Like, so if you build the cookhouse, you get cooking, fishing, and I forget the other. Some of these give 2 professions. Most of them give 3. Stoneworks is your jewel crafting, your stone cutting, and your mining. So these are all the things. The lab gives you alchemy, gives you arcane engineering, and it gives you herbalism, and so on and so forth. You guys get the idea. But if you're wanting to build a certain thing, this gives you leatherworking, tanning, and hunting, I believe. I could be getting some of the gathering ones mixed up on this. Of course, textile mill gives you weaving and tailoring, and smithy. And smithy is a popular one. I remember when I first got the mayors all together, everybody was going to build smithy because that's how you build weapons, which your weapons are your best sort of damage increase. And most weapons are built at the smithy. The wood shop builds bows. Arcane engineering builds like your scepters and wands and focuses and tomes and such. Books, I mean. But smithy, blacksmithing, weaponsmithing, and I forget what the other is. It might be mining at the smithy. I don't remember. So that's kind of the rundown of mayor stuff. And I know this is kind of a like off the seat of my pants. I didn't have time to script all this out, unfortunately, but I wanted to get this video done before I didn't have an opportunity to do this video anymore. I'll try to edit this down because it's 20 minutes long. With that, guys, I'll see you in the next video.